Hi. Welcome to the 12th KKIFF webinar number 2, Indie Film Festival and Then What? So that is the title for tonight's webinar, and it was now live tonight on the third day of 12 KKIFF on KKIF FB and also YouTube. So I'm the moderator tonight. I'm Chong Lee. I'm a lecturer and also film festival programmer and director. And tonight I'm given the task to moderate the sessions. So thank you for tuning in. And together with me, we have 4 panelists. So I will introduce one by one each of them. So the first panelist that I would like to introduce is Muzamil Rahman. So Muzamil Rahman began his career as a writer for magazine, television, and short film. Hi, Muz.
Hi, Kopi Bosian.
Hello, nice to see you here. Yes, and he involved in television program and commercial as freelance scriptwriter, directors, and producer. And his debut film, Prebet Sapu, was selected to screen in Jogja and Pack Asian Film Festival last year. And also this year, just went to Far East Film Festival in Italy. And soon, his film will be released in local cinema. So let's see if he is going to announce to us when his film will be shown in our cinema, and let's check out his film in the cinema very, very soon. And for your information, he's also one of the alumnus of Asian Film Academy. So this will be among the topics that we are going to talk about his experience joining film festival, not only for screening his film, but also entering the lab to polish his film skill together with us. Okay, thank you, Muzamil. Okay, up next we have Audrey. Audrey Yeo is a graduate of National Institute of Arts and Culture Asora with a degree in film and video directing. Hi, Audrey.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. And I really love and I enjoy watching her film. Her film's project had traveled to several films festival. Among them is Easier to Raise Cattle, directed by Amanda Neil, which Audrey was edited the film, and it was in competition for the 74th Venice Film Festival. Recently, her short film Posterity was premiered in Locarno Film Festival. So yeah, there's so much that she can share with us. And currently, she's involved in an indie project entitled Tiger Stripes, produced by Ghost Girl Pictures, directed by Amanda Neil. So I hope that is enough to introduce you.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks, Audrey, for joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, next we have Vignesh. Let's introduce Vignesh then. Hi, Vignesh. Hope you're fine then.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for inviting me as one of your panelists, and thanks to KKIF. Thank you so much, and hi friends, how are you all?
Sure. And this is our first time meeting Vignesh in person, online. So let me introduce Vignesh. Vignesh is a film director, actor, producer. His recent film, Paramapatam, The Snake and Leather Gameboard, which he co-directed with his brother, Tanesh Prabhu, is about a group of friends who went on an adventure and encountering consequences of their actions are now playing in the 12th Kota Kinabalu International Film Festival. So if you wish to watch his film, do check out. You just need to pay 20 ringgit for the tickets, the pass, and then you should be able to access to his film, and together with more than 30 plus films available online at the moment. And at his age of 21, he has started working in the film industry as an assistant film director. And to date, he has directed more than, I think, 7 short films, 1 music videos, and 1 feature film. So welcome, Vignesh.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thanks for invite me as well.
Sure. So for your information, also his film had entered quite a number of film festival and winning a lot of awards. So we'll be hearing from him and together with Muzamil and Audrey about their experience getting into film festival. And for your information, there is another panelist. I'm not sure if she's already around. If she's in, then we can introduce her. Okay, hi. Hi, Nandita.
Hi. I'm Musa.
Welcome here. So, let me introduce Nandita. Nandita Solomon is an award-winning producer and co-founder of the film production company called Apparat, which focuses primarily on narrative fiction and documentary film. She has worked across various studios and independent film, that have screened at various international film festivals, such as Locarno, Busan, and some of the films she produced, such as Bunohan, Interchange, and Fish Listeners of Setiu Lagoons. So there are so many films that she had involved along the way. So we'll be listening from her about her experience joining film festival. And sorry for the surprise, my cat is just I just come in and
Actually,
wanted
you
to
should
be in.
introduce your cat.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So cute.
Yeah, sure. Okay, she's Karuna, named after a Sanskrit word. Okay, you
Yeah.
can Google about it. Okay, so today's title is indie film festival, and then what? So I guess we can talk about basically most of our films today can be considered as indie film because it's not produced under big studios or tied up with production with a lot of budgets or being invested by big companies. So we can consider that as indie films. And relatively, we are having more creative freedom, and the content can be very edgy, alternative, transgressive, provocative, and niche in certain natures. So meanwhile, for film festival, we know that is a very diverse, different, and competitive in nature, and it provides exposure to filmmakers to show their films. So it's a opportunity for stakeholders such as filmmakers, programmers, audience, critics, sales agents, distributors, and media to meet each other, and also to set a trend for what kind of film that we should look for, kind of like an alternative for the existing mainstream cinema that we have. So for now, probably we can start with the very first question. I believe all of you had involved in film festival in one time or more than that. So probably you can share your experience. How was the experience? Was it good experience, bad experience? Even had you entered any real or fake scam festivals and things like that? So how to differentiate them also? So yeah, probably we can start with the most experienced one, Nandita.
I think it's better to let me go last, actually. Since you put me up front, I mean, I don't have any bad experiences. I see the first international film festival that I went to was the Cannes Film Festival, and I had worked on a film called Karaoke. It was a film in 2009 by a Sabahan filmmaker named Chris Song Chan Pui. So it's interesting to be able to talk about it here at KKIFF. But yeah, it was a super indie film, and Chris and the team. It was a small team, and we worked really hard. And to get the news that it had been selected for Cannes Directors Fortnight was a huge honor, really. And just to give a bit of background, because what I realize now, because sometimes I teach at schools like Sunway or MMU, I teach producing for film, and then I'm quite surprised to see that most of the students have never heard of any of the international film festivals. And I can't remember how or why I knew, but names like Cannes, I was a film buff, in school or growing up, I loved film, I loved cinema. And throughout my university years, it was nothing like Cannes, Berlin, Venice, these were names that I always knew about. So like I said, I can't remember when that came into my consciousness. So when I teach here and I ask the students and like, they've never heard of Cannes, I'm just like, I'm quite blown away by that. So for me to have been at Cannes for the first, I think it was the third film I had worked on. And so it was just such a thrill. And I'll give credit to Finas for providing the support for some of the team to go. So we managed to bring, we were supposed to bring two of our actors, but one of them had some problems at immigration. She couldn't leave the country, but we got the clothes sponsored, and we wanted to showcase Malaysia while we were there. And it was my first eye-opener to what really happens at a film festival and all the things, how to maximize the positioning of your film and the filmmaker. So there's two things that happen at a film festival. There's the film, and then there's the filmmaker. So different things happen for both of them. And if you really want to maximize your presence at a film festival, you need to work on both of those. And so for me, that production with the Finas support, we managed to have like a small publicist, and they arranged for interviews. And it was really cool. Like one night we we went to some function they were having, and there was Bob, Zahir Azim, and his photo was really big, and even Bob was like, "Oh my God, like my Malaysian face is the papa so big here." It was, we were very, very
Couldn't
honored.
imagine that.
Yeah. And then for me personally, it opened up a lot of doors through a lot of people that I met there, including somebody who was attached to the World Cinema Fund. And she gave me an idea of what a producer is like. Because here a lot of producers are it's all about the business, it's all about the numbers, but that whole aspect of loving films and cinema and the filmmaker and having a dream for your film, that kind of stuff, I don't find so much here. So she turned out to be a huge inspiration and mentor to me. And then she introduced me to the European Audiovisual Network of Entrepreneurs, IAVE. And I ended up attending about 5 of the IAVE workshops that then really set the tone and frame for how I approach film producing. So all that happened out of attending one film festival.
That's really beneficial and very impressive. By attending one film festival that you mentioned, Cannes, that Cannes Film Festival, that you had already learned so much, like what constitutes a producer, and also accessing to World Cinema Funds, and also the network that you have built along the way. Thank you, Nandita, for sharing this. So had you managed to change your students' mind about what is film festival and those well-known film festivals that have been introduced to them?
Yes, one of the assignments that they get graded on is that they have to do a presentation on, they can pick some, but it's basically like Berlin, Busan. They have to pick a documentary festival as well, because it's very important for documentary filmmakers to understand what documentary festivals to look for. And they also, when I insist that they feature festivals that also have project markets and script labs and talent labs attached, so that they can see the whole bigger picture, as well as project markets and sales markets, so that they understand the whole bigger picture of what a film festival is about. It's not just the little laurels on the posters. But another thing that is quite funny, so in 2019, I was part of the Locarno Producers Lab, the Open Doors Producers Lab, which for those 3 years, 2019, 2020, and 2021, they've been focusing on Southeast Asia and Mongolia. Yeah, they didn't know where to put Mongolia, so they brought it to Southeast Asia. But out of that lab, when we were talking in the lab with the producers from Thailand, from Philippines, from Indonesia, we all said the same thing, which the Locarno people were quite shocked at. It's like we said, when we come home, we hide our festival laurels. Because when we come home, the labeling is, oh, you went to a festival, so you must be art house, you must be serious, you must be heavy. So the perception that has happened here at home, and our press and I think other producers kind of promoted that to be a good film in Malaysia, you have to go to box office. So that we don't want our films to be stained by that kind of association. It almost does a disservice to us, because people here just don't have enough information or knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. I guess your assignment to students really helped, and we can run a class about that.
Anytime, I'm more than happy to do it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Nandita, for sharing that. In fact, she has covered quite a huge range of what constitute a film festival. It's not only screening film and selecting film to be screened to the audience, but also including lab, the workshop, and also film markets that she had mentioned. So thanks for highlighting that. We will talk about that slightly later. So for audience out there, if you have been thinking film festival as a place to screen and watch film, that is only a very small chunk out of a film festival. So we'll slowly move on to talk about the other part of film festival slightly later. So let's move to Mus. So Muzamil, at his film, just like I mentioned, went to Jogja NetPack, Far East Film Festival, and there's so many others. So could you please also share with us your festival experience?
So my first festival experience is Busan International Film Festival in 2013. That one because I was selected one of the fellow for Asian Film Academy. But I think the idea of the film festival come to me during Fly project. So I was the first fellow Fly project in Philippines 2011. So Fly project is like Asian Film Academy, but in the context of Southeast Asian. So during that time, I met a few filmmakers from around Southeast Asia. So I have the idea, there are film festival like that, because before that, I just knew the film festival for something for award, film screening, only like that. So after that, then I knew there are many things about the film festival. So that's the reason I applied for Asian Film Academy in 2013. So during the festival, I quite shocked, I quite excited, because when you go to Busan International Film Festival, Busan is like it's maybe a small city. So during the festival, it's like everyone go there because of the festival. You can see everyone are wearing the same tag, wearing the same bag for the merchandise. Everyone queue for the ticket. So I feel really excited. I feel because before I start my career as a filmmaker, I was a cinephile. I really love film. So I can feel like something like a sense of belonging when go to the festival. Can feel the spirit of the film, the cinema. Then on that festival, we see the master of the filmmaker. Before that, we only see on television or maybe internet. On that festival, I encounter with Tarantino.
Wow.
I meet with Kim Kido, Lee Chandong, all the master. I think Jafar Bahman Gobadi also they. So it's quite a very inspiring experience. Then on that festival, then I know there are many things about the festival. There are market, there are project, there are pitching, and I think one of the best thing about festival is the networking and the party.
Okay, at the party, yes. Right. So Moose has mentioned about this visceral experience of encountering hardcore film audience who really love films. That's one, and the other is to also meet our filmmakers who have been very inspiring to Moose. So there's the 2 points that he had mentioned. I think I saw Vignesh has put his mic on. So would you like to share anything, Vignesh? Please.
Yeah, actually, let me introduce myself. My name is Vignesh. I'm from Qatar, and my experience is almost for 12 years only. I've been making a lot of short films and telemovies. Paramapadam is my first feature film. Okay, so that won numerous awards from various film festivals, and of course, for your information. About film festivals, Madam Nandita and the brother, okay, has a huge experience. Really respect to them. But when when after I complete my movie, just for learning purpose, I try to enter a lot of film festivals. So, for example, Film Freeway, they got a lot of film festivals, almost 5,000 film festivals, nearly a year. 1 year we can see a lot of film festival, nearly 5,000 film festival. But is that all the film festival is approved by Malaysian government or worldwide international filmmaking board? Not at all. I think around 100 or 150 film festivals is just recognized by the international filmmaking board. So this learning process also I get after I get entered by most of the cheatable and scam film festivals. That's my experience lah. Actually, for example, Oscar, Golden Globe, Tokyo International Film Festival, Singapore International Film Festival is almost recognized by the World Filmmakers Institution. But in the name of the scam, there's a lot of film festival. Like, for example, Singapore World Carnival Film Festival.
Yes.
Singapore, okay, World Awards. So it's nothing to about the film festival actually. So I think a lot of filmmakers, upcoming youngsters, often believe that Singapore Carnival Film Festival, we already won the best film festival in the world. Not at all. Actually, by FINAS, Film National Malaysia, KKMM, only recognized 36 film festivals from worldwide. So from I got a, I think I also made a huge mistake, because if we didn't do mistakes means then we cannot do learning, right? So I think from the I have entered more than 50 film festivals. We managed to won 30 film festival. From the 30, Malaysian Book of Records only approved 16 only because of the quality and the year of the film festival. Other 12, I guess, or 15 is the scam film festivals. So one of the film festival that we successfully enter as an eligible film category is a Golden Globe Awards. Okay, so from Malaysia, our film has been nominated for eligible film category, not to the finalist. So this is my film experience. Because why I want to share this means because a lot of filmmakers, mostly youngsters, often believe if they won any kind of film festival from outside, they believe, okay, we already won film festival. This is the day. This is the time. This is the learning. Not at all. So this is my personal experience to aware of real film festival and scam film festivals.
Thanks. I think this is very valuable experience that you have shared with us. I guess it's a dream come true for a lot of filmmakers when their film got into film festival. And this craze or hunger for being recognized in the film festival had driven the filmmakers to send their film to many film festivals just in the name of getting in. So I guess what we had learned from Vignesh is that really check the background of the festival if they are the fake one or the scam one in order for us to really get into a real one instead. Okay, so let's listen to Audrey. So would you like to share with us about your experience? I believe it is very valuable as well.
Okay, I've been to some, but I don't think as much as everyone here. So my first festival experience was 2000 and 17 or 18, 74th Venice, which is I went there under a short film, Easier to Raise Cattle. I was an editor for that film, and it's directed by Amanda. So it was selected to be in competition that year, and I'm really lucky to be able to attend a very important festival for my first festival experience. It's a very memorable one, and I think just like Moose, what Moose shared earlier, like you just being amongst other filmmakers that you like-minded people, that it's really a very motivating experience. So I remember when I was there, I was like, oh, I want to make my film, and one day I want to get there too, like on my own terms, my own film. So I continue to go on making and trying to make my films, and then I also went the same year. I also attended Busan. Moose was also there, but I was there under the platform Busan that year. Yeah, and like Moose said, the experience in Busan and Venice was very different. So I think maybe Busan because it's Asian, so I think it's easier to just connect because everybody is Asian there. Whereas in Venice, right, we tend to just hang out with this very small pool of Asian because it's so huge, and you have Europeans and you have filmmakers from all over the world, and everybody tend to just hang out with their little pockets of comfort zone. So we, like, for Southeast Asia, we hang out with ourselves in Venice, but in Asia it's like in Busan it's like everybody just like hang out with everyone, and the experience was a very different experience as well. But the same feeling is that you're being there physically in physical festival, which kind of miss. I'm very lucky to be able to go to Locarno this year to actually refresh that feeling. It's really, really nice. So yeah, it's just being at a festival physically. It's just a very great experience. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with what you said, because having experience organizing film festival and attending film festival myself, I also felt what you said. Like, we have been mentioning about festival outside of Malaysia. So how can we actually compare? What can we learn from them if we were to compare our festival with the festival outside of Malaysia? So I just name a few that probably people know about, like Sea Shop Film Festival, IFA, CLAX, or KKIFF, for example. These are the festivals available in Malaysia. And for sure, a lot of people will be saying, well, our festival are just far behind compared to the festival out there. So what can we actually learn from them, and what can we do better if we were to, as your perspective, so that we can, as a filmmakers, what kind of envisioning of film festivals that actually bring goods to us in the film community?
Like for me, from the festivals that you mentioned, right, I've attended Sea Shorts, and I think it's very. I don't think you can compare because every festival has its unique identity by itself, and I think I really enjoyed Sea Shorts. I've attended Sea Shorts, I think physically 2 or 3 times, and the interesting part about Sea Shorts, they organize it. They try to organize it in not the same location every year. You know, when we were still having physical festivals. So so I went to the one in Penang and then the one in Malacca, and previously there was the I think the early ones were in KL. So the experience is very casual. It's very different from the other festival. It's a very casual. It's a kind of festival where you can go and watch a film with everyone just wearing shorts and slippers. It's just so casual. It's really nice. It's a very different experience. Yeah, and I think to improve, I don't know how to say. I think the improvement have to come from the community. Like like you have to have your local to support the festival in order for it to grow. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, thanks, Audrey, for that. Okay, how about Nandita? I think Nandita had been being jury for Serial Festival at the same time as well. So probably you can also talk about this on comparatively and how can we actually make our festival better so that it can also bring betterment to our film community here in Malaysia.
I don't think it's like Audrey was saying. I don't think it's fair to compare because there's a whole culture around each festival and the motivations and the intentions of the organizers. So I think the festivals really go back to the ethos or the motivation for why they are organized in the first place. So like Audrey, I would say I really enjoy Sea Shorts. I've attended it a couple of times, and I think maybe because the organizers are more have had more exposure to other international film festivals, they try to bring that feeling back here. So you really have that opportunity to mingle and interact with other filmmakers from Malaysia. Because they're called Sea Shorts, Southeast Asian Shorts, they really make it a point to bring Southeast Asian films and filmmakers and mentors to one place. So that's the real benefit that Sea Shorts has. Its mandate is quite clear what they want. I've been to KKIF, I think in 2015 or something. It was like in the second or third year it was organized, and actually that's where I gave my first talk on what is producing. I remember I was so nervous. I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this. I don't think I know what I'm talking about. But I enjoyed that. Like I think that's one of the good things about KKIFF is that it organizes all these workshops and talks, and it's great to see that we can continue to do so. Even though it's online, I think, and I hope that it actually opens up to a bigger audience than who could have been physically present at the festival. Then if I look at number one, we have Festival Film Malaysia, right? Which they seem to have lost the point. It's just an awards night. They don't have a festival around it.
It's a festival.
It's an awards night. It's not a festival. It's called Festival Film Malaysia, except that they missed out on having the festival part of it. So different festivals, they all have an awards night and they celebrate it in different ways, right? Some might be a jury prize. Some might have a competition section, or like I think it was 2019, I was invited to be the international jury for international features at the Jogja Film Festival. So they have different sections, and then they have different juries for that. But again, Jogja as well, I met so many Malaysian filmmakers who paid their own pocket money to go to Jogja just to be there and experience a film festival. And I see them, they're like rushing from one screening to the next, or going from one workshop to the next. And then in the evenings, we're all like, okay, where are we meeting up? Who's having dinner with whom? Who's having drinks with whom? So that kind of atmosphere is really what makes the festivals so much fun. So I would say that to everybody who's organizing festivals, to at least go and spend some time at other festivals and see what you like about it and come back. And I think that and curation is important. Every year, what is your program? Where are you sourcing your films from? So that's where programmers often travel to other film festivals to meet filmmakers and source the films. So programming and curation, the other activities around it. I think if I remember anything else, I will put up my hand.
Yes, I agree with Nandita on the last point about the programming process, because by programming is actually set the trend of what kind of film that we might want to look into, and these persons or this group of people will have a kind of good sense of what is really important at the moment that shall be brought in to the country or to the people, to the audience to watch and to talk about. So they set the trend, kind of like the trendsetters for that. So yeah, thank you, Nandita, for that. Yes, please.
I remember what I wanted to say. The other thing is like about who you have for your jury or your mentors. What that does is it kind of raises the profile for your festival itself and for the films there. I think that's a good way also to connect, because they might be there as your jury or your mentors, but then you have interaction with people who are attending your festival. So there's actually a bigger benefit for people who are participating in your festival. And I just wanted to mention the other festival that I really love in Malaysia is the Freedom Film Festival, which is a documentary film festival. We always forget about our documentaries when we are at these fiction forums. And especially in Sabah, documentary filmmaking is becoming very important. And we're seeing a lot of great documentaries coming out of Sabah. So yeah, Freedom Film Festival is the oldest film festival in Malaysia. Does anybody know that? Yeah. And
It's 17.
And its screenings are always totally sold out, and they have lots of talks and like really controversial stuff. And like if people say nobody watches documentaries in Malaysia and you go and it's sold out every night, it's so I think the organizers of that, one of the things they want to do is encourage people to watch more documentaries, right?
Yes.
So that's what I would want to support all film festivals anywhere they're happening in the country, because we want to encourage people to watch more films and more different kind of films, not just what's available on Astro First or what's showing in the cinema. And that's really what a film festival is about as well.
I believe Anna and people from Freedom Film Festival will be very happy to hear that. And for your information, KKIFF is partnering with Freedom Film Fest, Mini Film Festival to bring in films from their film festival to be screened in KKIFF this time. Yes. I guess what another point that Nandita had mentioned is about having the jury and also the mentor, because these people are bringing in their aura. In the first sense, it's like their aura and their fans or the people who believe in them to follow through. So whenever you have this particular person in as your jury or as your mentor, you kind of like invite or attract people who want to know them and to learn from them to come to your festival. So that is actually a bonus point that when you are inviting a jury or mentor or filmmakers as your panelists, that actually carry the weight of what kind of tones that you want to set for your festival. So how about you, Muzamil and Vignesh? Anything you'd like to add on? I believe you have a lot of experience, and even I think Muzamil had involved in MIF Fest before.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah.
part of selection committees. I think quite interesting film festival. They are they have the idea how the film festival should be. So yeah, and so yeah, I think I'm not in the position to comment about the film festival, because so far I have different experience in film festival, but if the film festival show films, for me is enough. For me, is enough. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mus. Yes, Vignesh. Anything to add?
Okay, brother. So I think most of the valuable and good points is already delivered by Madam Nandita. Sorry, and I think only one important thing. So, film criticism and film review is an art or a subject in foreign. Okay. So there are many film criticizers and professional film reviewers are really study for the film what we call about film reviews. Okay, it can be a paid what we call film criticism and paid reviews. But back in Malaysia, so every film festival from Malaysia or worldwide, we only take part the film festival based on the jurification process and the jury's profile. So let's say the jury's profile is higher. Obviously, we can learn through them. because from our first film festival, from our first film, we cannot learn anything. Maybe the film is very good for my eyes, for my experience, but how about the audience, general audience, and the world professionalist? So, is it what we call, if we take part to a film festival, the jurification process and the jury's profile is very important. That's why in foreign, people often study for criticism and film reviews. So that's the main thing. Just I want to want to highlight here. And for the KKIF, I've been called by Enche Abdul Hassan Mutalib and Madam Jude. So I think I think all of you know, Abdul Hassan Mutalib is a Merdeka Achiever Award and also Asian Critic Film Reviewers. So that's the main thing attract me to enter for the KKIF. So I think most of the professional will think about the quality and the quantity that the film festival will deliver. That's the thing, brother.
Yeah. You have mentioned one good point about film criticism and reviews. I guess most of our film festival here don't really have these sections in their festival. One very interesting point about Indonesian film festival is that they have even award designs or to be given to people who review films, and they have this like nomination, and then they will be giving awards to the best writers who writes about film reviews. So I think this culture of film review is very important because they are the one that connect the readers and the audience to the films that they had reviewed about. So I think this point that we should actually learn about and we can put into our festival. What I did with my students and also in Mini Film Festival is that I make them write a review for the films that we have nominated. So this review will be also published on our social media and also our things like that. Then readers who access to the social media might get interested to watch the films. So that is one of the ways that I try to include in the festival that I run. I guess it's very important by having film criticism and reviews of films and connect it to the film festival, to the class, and also things like this. Yeah, thank you, Vignesh, for mentioning that.
Yeah. One more thing. I just want to share my trailer with my fellow friends and my panelists here. So let give their honest feedback on the trailer just for 2 minutes. It will be a great guidance and learning process to me. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, let's see.
கதிரவன் சூழ்ந்திடும் ஈராறு மதிகள், மதியவன் வளமிடும் 5-6 திதிகள்.
அப்புறம் ஜெயா, ஏதாவது தகவல் கிடைச்சதா?
இந்த கேம் போர்ட் சிம்பிளை பற்றி வேற ஏதாவது உனக்கு தெரியுமா?
இந்த கேம் போர்ட்டை நான் 2 டேஸாக ரிசர்ச் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். இதுக்குன்னு ஒரு ஹிஸ்ட்ரியே இருக்குது. இந்த பரமபதம் கேம் போர்ட்டை அவன் பிணையங்கள் உள்ள தன்னோட தங்கும் விடுதிக்கு எடுத்துகிட்டு போயிருக்காரு. அந்த தங்கும் விடுதிக்கு மொத்தம் 4 பார்ட்னர்ஸ் வந்திருக்காரு. இந்த 4 பேரும் அந்த கேம் போர்ட்டை விளையாடி இருக்காங்க. சில நாட்கள்லேயே இவங்க இறந்துருக்காங்க.
அமானுஷ்யம். பல வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி நம்ம தமிழர்கள் மந்திர மாயக்கலையில கை தேர்ந்தவர்கள்.
இந்த விஷயத்தை நீ நம்ப சொல்றியா?
அம்மா மேல சத்தியமா இதான் நடந்துச்சு.
ஒரு விஷயம் என்ன ரொம்ப டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணுச்சு. இதையெல்லாம் கண்டுபிடிச்சு என்ன ஏதுன்னு விசாரிச்சு
வாவ், குட் ஜாப்.
இனிமேதான் ஆரம்பம்.
வெளியில சொன்னு வச்சுக்கோயேன்.
இந்த நியூஸை ஹெட்லைன்ல போடுங்க.
மாறிடும் காலங்கள், மாயத்தின் சூழ்ச்சி.
Thank you, Vignesh, for sharing your trailer with us. For your information, audience out there, this film is now screening in the KKIFF online. So by buying the tickets of 20 ringgit, you will be able to access to the film. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I request a small, what we call feedbacks from my panelist here, Miss Nandita, Madam. So yeah, it will be great guidance for me actually. Actually, this is my first feature film.
Thanks for sharing it, Brother Vignesh. But I would just say that I think I'm more than happy to talk to you after that, because our panel, people have tuned into the panel and the organizers have organized it to talk about film festivals and then what. So let's give respect to the festival and our audience here. I'm very happy. After this, we can connect and talk about it. I'm happy to give you 2 hours. We can discuss your film, and I've watched it from the link. I'm very happy to do that, but maybe not here. Okay?
Okay.
Huh?
Yes. We can do it also later. Then for now, probably Vignesh, you can share with us about your experience, because you say you have been getting this film into quite a number of film festival. What was the method or the strategy that you had applied in order for you to get into them? Probably you can talk about this, like using your film as an example.
Actually, the first method is failure. The first method is failure, because if we accept our failure learning process, then we will get a lot of knowledge. I have entered a lot of scam film festivals, so that's my first knowledge. Secondly, it's almost take nearly 1 year to identify which is the best film festival, what are the scam film festivals. So I think if we enter for the something like Golden Globe, Oscars, or representing a nation for most prestigious film festival, the director profile or biography and the company profile and also the movie profile should be completed and highlighted with decent and neat. And also because for foreigners, for outside filmmakers, if we just send the trailer, they not understand what is the film about. We need to highlight the movie log line, synopsis, and with the salient features. Salient features means important things in the film. What could be, what are the criteria that we can offer our audience? Why they need to buy our films for 15 or 20 ringgit? So these are the important things we need to highlight in a movie profile. So, and then the last one is a presentation. So let's say if our presentation is very good, no matter if we go for full markets or anything, any places, they will respect for our quality. Let's say if we talk for higher professional or more than experience from us, if they highlight any kind of mistakes from our side, let we accept the failures, or let accept the what we call the problems from. So that's the only process that I learned from the few film festivals.
Okay, thank you, Vignesh. From failure to learning along the process. Thank you, Vignesh. Okay, how about you, Audrey?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay. I believe you had entered those film festival before, and how did you make the best out of it? And did you really study them before you joined them? What kind of strategies that you apply so that you can make the best out of them to get into film festival?
Okay, like for me, I also took a few years to kind of understand the festival strategy and all that. Now it's not that I think I'm more equipped now, but still not there. I'm still in learning process. But I think for me, it's from observation through my friends who are doing it, and at first, like I mentioned, my first festival experience. I went there. I was like, oh, this is a festival, but such a great festival. But I didn't know anything about it. And I know when I was following them when they were doing their planning, I was like, wow, all this really intricate planning about where to go, which festival to send first, and it's very important because a film, the world premiere is like the cherry. It's like it's very very important, and the best is for you to be able to world premiere your film in a important festival, and it will kind of open doors to a lot of other festivals. It's like if you go to a really good one, and then like Nandita said as well, it's like connections, right? You get there, you know all these people, and you interact with them, and then they will also help you open up doors to like other festivals as well. The programmers from other festivals are there, and then they will invite your film to attend to those festivals. So that's how your film starts to travel lah. So from observing my friends doing it, and like take a few years as well, and also like physically doing some research, and especially now that I have recently have a short film that I'm planning, that like when you're actually doing it right and doing all this research, then you understand a bit more about all this festival strategy, and then and of course, like Vignesh said, there's a lot of scam festivals out there, especially Film Freeway. There's so many that I myself get confused. So I will always ask friends, and I'll ask like friends here and friends in other countries as well that I know they have more experience sending their films out. I ask them, hey, have you heard of this festival before? What do you think? And then they'll tell me, oh, this is this, or that is that. This is good, or this one, yeah, it's worth sending. So I will do that. And also, I think another way when you're doing the research, also when you can look at the selections of films the festival had. Let me rephrase that. Look at the past selection of the catalog from that festival, and then you can see like, oh, this festival, they are interested in content like that. Then you can recognize, oh, maybe my film has a better chance here because they have selected similar films like that there, and or they are interested in Southeast Asian content. So you can try those festivals lah. So that is one of the strategy I learned and applied.
Studying the festival background, what kind of preference they had in the past, is actually building up our knowledge about them, and it's kind of like thinking if we should send our film there or shouldn't waste our money, because most of these films, they will charge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll say if it's free, you try to send it because it's free, right? But if of course a lot of festivals out there it's not, they will at least charge a few euros, and if like I usually use Short Film Depot because I think the festivals on there are more recognized, or like the lesser, like they narrow it down so you have those lesser scams. Like Film Freeway is just too much. I use that sometimes, but because it's just too many, so I would use Short Film Depot and try and send there, and it will cost you a few euros to send. That's why you can't send everywhere. That's where the research comes into play lah. Yeah.
True. Thank you. I think the research process is a learning process as well.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Moose? I believe you as director, at the same time you're working with several producer who produce your film. I think this process also come into being so when you want to send your film out.
Okay, I think I'm quite lucky because I have go to several festivals before. I think I share my experience with Busan. Then because I'm very curious about the film festival, I go to Jogja, I think 2016. Then I go to Singapore 2017. Just visit there as a cinephilia, as an audience. Just want to feel the experience because I really love to watch movie at the festival. So when we starting making our first feature films, Prebet Sapu, so we already knew which film festival that we target. Because we know our film is very quite raw, small films. So actually we have like 10 festivals that we try to send our films, and all the I think all the list. I think the list mostly we target Asian Film Festival. I think the highest maybe Busan, and then Tokyo, and then Jogja. We never aim about Venice, Locarno, because that time because our first and we think also we quite realistic. So with all the 10 film festival that we targeted, actually I think 3 of the festival accept our films to be showing there. So actually because the experience with the film festival, because every film festival they have their own target, they have their own theme. They somehow they have their not darling. They are quite not really, not I say quite specific, but there are something like that I can things like maybe Jogja Nepek love films more social, more raw, more not quite amateur, but maybe quite I think quite gritty maybe. Or Singapore maybe like film quite polished. And Tokyo maybe like film about humanity, something like that. That we felt before that. That's the reason we chose certain film festival for our films to send. We didn't submit to all the film festivals because quite think quite not wasting time because we know how we are lah. Because maybe because of the experience. Yeah.
So how did you come to the idea that this film festival will accept this kind of film, like the film that you are making?
Okay, the idea is not very fixed, but somehow we follow the festival since I think we follow the Busan since because I go there since 2013, so we follow the trend over the year. We follow the trend in let's say Jogja every year in Singapore. So somehow we quite not really new, but we can see the trend. So we know maybe our film not really suitable for Cannes. Let's say Cannes because we never send our film to Cannes, and we I think I think not because we try to be realistic. Because there are many film festivals, so we have our targets. I think the important is we have our target and we try to achieve what we targeted.
Yeah. So the first thing is to know ourselves first. Then we study the film festival that suits us to send to. Okay. Thanks, Moose. How about you, Nandita? Would you like to add anything on?
Yeah, just to say, we often spend a lot of time talking about the Cannes, Berlin, and all that side. But you know, there are so many other festivals, and the list put up by FINAS is not a conclusive list of, kind of festivals with decent accreditation. And a lot of Malaysians actually produce genre films. We have a lot of horror, and we have like some action films, and we have horror comedy. So those can find a good home at the fantastic film festivals. Yeah. So they target that kind of audience who is looking for that kind of content. So you just go there. You don't have to like berangan-angan like yeah, you know. But you should know that even within that basket, then you can look and see there's the really like who's organizing this, how old is the festival, what kind of audience does it attract, what kind of press does that festival get? So something like Udine or Puchon, they still get very decent press and publicity in the international magazines. And for me as a producer, that's important because that then is tied into the chance for the film to travel further because that's how other festivals might hear of it. So oftentimes when we premiere, as Audrey was saying, your world premiere is so important, and then where you have your I always look at the regional premieres. So I always try and make sure that our films premiere at different regions also in some of the more important or prestigious festivals. Or, it's all connected to the journey of your film. Then after that, I can't say that we went and applied to 20 other festivals. The invitations just come because the programmers are traveling to the festivals. And then after that, okay, you go here, go there. It's all this word of mouth and the connections and the network.
And that won't go by itself.
Yeah, I think I quite agree with Audrey and Nan because which festival our premiere is quite important. For us, I think Far East Urini very important for us because of that festival, people from real Asian come and watch our films. People from Smithsonian Museum come to watch our films, and then ask us to film in their festival, and people from Asian Barcelona also visit the festival. I think that's important. Which festival we target and do our premiere.
Yeah. So they are kind of like the magnet that attract the real or nice festival that want your film.
I mean, the bigger festivals have screenings for the general audience who buy the tickets, but they also have press screenings or they have industry screenings. This is for like the really big ones, like even Toronto and all that. Like you're in the duration of the festival, your film might screen 3 times, but it might also have 2 or 3 press and industry screenings. Usually for that, we do not take the director to attend that because people walk in and out all the time and it can be quite upsetting. The director after 10 minutes, this person's leaving. Like, does it mean they don't like my film? Actually, it's not. These people are there to work. They've seen 10 minutes. Okay, they've got the phone number, the contact. Okay, they got to go and meet somebody else or watch the next movie. So we don't take our directors to those screenings,
No offense.
Yeah, and then for the directors, like I know for Dane's side, he really loves the smaller festivals. Like one time he went to Dharamshala in India in the north there, and Bunohan, and I think both Bunohan and Interchange screen there. He's so excited to go there. He said it's really tiny and just a few hundred people, but he gets to talk to everybody and his feeling when he's there. He loves Jogja as well very, very much, But Busan, you can really get quite lost in there with all the thousands of films. But then the experience of meeting with all the other filmmakers is really what is so cool about Busan. And for me, all the film festivals, when you get in, they will invite the director to attend. And so the producer and the rest of the cast and all that, maybe for your premiere, they might invite you, So for me, I will usually choose which one's like the main premiere to go and make sure the film's going to be okay in that place. But after that, it's the director who gets to travel a lot and really experience different places and meet other filmmakers. And there's a lot of networking. And further along the road, you never know, you might end up collaborating with somebody. So it's not just about sales and the business, but you might end up collaborating that somebody you met at one festival might end up being your DP or your editor or your co-writer, or how you might end up helping each other later on. Like sometimes I get calls from somebody I've met, say in Calcutta. Say my friend is in Singapore, they want to go to Malaysia, can you meet up with them? And then we meet up, and then from there, that kind of network and relationship and friendship takes off from there. So it's quite charming.
Yes, very beautiful. So far we have been talking about screening our film in festival and how to get in there, and so that is on the screening side. How about experience of joining film market and lab? I believe Muzamil had the experience joining lab and developing his skills there. How about film markets or labs that the other panelists would like to talk about?
I think I just experienced with the Asian Film Academy. It's not really a script lab, it's just filmmaking lab. I think the things important about the lab for me is about the networking between our fellow filmmakers, because we can keep inspiring by each other. And who's our mentor? During my lab in Fly Project 2012, my mentor is the one from Philippines is Alex Adolfo Borinaga. So one of his film screening at Cannes. So quite inspiring for me. And we watch I watched his films. The title is Justice, and because of that film, it inspired me to make my first feature film in black and white. And then in 2013, my mentor is Adia Sarat from Thailand. Then I have Dean Lee Chang Dong, and our mentor Lee Mo Yong, one of the writer for Sympathy for Mr. Bajans in one of the important film in Korea. So I think the things about the lab is not really about we learn something, but how we inspired from each others, and how they because maybe we think when we in Malaysia we quite small number, we feel somehow we feel alone, we do this alone, or only you do the film for festival. But we go out there, we see we share the loneliness with other filmmakers, because I think every independent filmmaker, alternative filmmaker in every country quite lonely, not really lonely, quite we can say like something like left out, or maybe have our own world. So when we meet them, we feel like we quite complete.
Connected.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like you felt complete in that sense. We met someone who is like-minded, so we also build up the support system in that sense. Okay, thank you, Moose. How about you, Audrey?
Well, I can share, talking about this, I do agree with what Anita and Moose say. I mean, I recently experienced the Locarno Open Doors, and although I'm under the short film screening category, but this year, no, sorry, I think it was last year, they started this program called the Immersion Program, and it's solely focusing for the screening. Those are involved in screenings are for under Open Doors. Previously, I think those that are under Open Doors screening, they just attend the festival without being a part of some of the programs like that are involving the lab and the hub. They have a lot of talks and stuff and mentoring. And previously, those under the screening, they're not involved. But I think because they see like, they bring in these filmmakers there, and then they try to think of doing more for them lah. So they started this program, and I get to interact with a lot with my group, the immersion group, and attend all the talks and everything. But the best part is really the network, because when you talk, right, you kind of form this kind of this connection with them, and then we started now we have this group. It started out as a group to just update everybody about what's going to happen in the festival, just briefing and stuff. But now this group is permanently there, and everybody, and once now we will all check about, we all like share stuff together and talk about and ask about how everyone's doing, what is everyone up to, and on our own, we also kind of like keep in touch with everyone. And then sometimes, like for instance, I have an idea to do a documentary, and I'm kind of like talking to one of the filmmakers that I met then in Locarno about under the Open Doors group, about how he's sharing his for him to share his experience of making documentary with me, and so that I can know how to start. So it's kind of things like that. You don't know who you're going to end up working with, but they might a very big chance or a very high chance that these people that you meet are the people that you will be collaborating with in the future. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Audrey. On the network, on the networking that brings so much benefits in the end of the day. Okay, Vinesh, do you have anything to say about? We couldn't hear you. No audio at the moment. No audio, Vinesh. Can you turn on your mic?
Sorry. Okay, I just want to share a quick share about my film marketing, film mart. Okay, so recently our film has been sent to Busan Film Mart and China Film Mart, and also Japan Film Mart by one of my friend, closest friend. He's a Chinese producer in Malaysia. His name is producer Ho. Okay, so he successfully sent our Tamil film to the Korea Busan festivals and a few of the Chinese market. Actually, our Malaysian films, no matter Tamil, Malay, or Chinese, or it can be any other languages, people are like to watch and like to what we call accept our film in foreign. So I think as every panelist said, if we have good marketing and good networking throughout our Malaysia and worldwide, of course we can surely turn the process into monetizations. So because end of the day, we talk about film festivals, we talk about profile quality. So what is the next process? Turn your profile into monetization. That's why we all work together. Okay. So and then the second process is consistency. So if we try to deliver a good product in every year, for my second film, third film, obviously the foreign market will trust on our Malaysian films. So that's the main point I just want to deliver here. for the film lab, open door, I don't have any enough experience, so that's why I couldn't share anything on that particular topic.
I guess one of the reasons that people want to get into film festival is to meet potential distributors or sales agents that might want to buy our films. I think Nandita had experience on this, which her film like Bunuhan had actually distributed to quite a number of countries or territories. So Nandita, would you like to share with us about this?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it's very important actually to be looking at the sales and distribution, even as Vignesh has covered. But I would say for both Interchange and Bunohan, I already had our sales agents in place by the time we got there. So by the time we got there, we're all on the ground to make sure that we're trying to connect and see the film onto further territories from there, using that as the kind of launchpad. What I do that's what I learned at through the karaoke process is to make sure that at least for our world premiere that I hire a publicist, so that they will make the journalists and reviewers are watching the film. In Locarno, we were not in competition, which is like the serious competition. We were at the Piazza Grande, which is where like the blockbuster films go, and we had 8,000 people watching the film that night. It's really quite a mind-blowing experience.
Yes.
And Locarno actually has a special program for film writers. So we had quite a lot of write-ups by people who were brought by Locarno, who were like still writers in training, kind of, and those reviews came out in places like IndieWire. But yeah, so it's all about like where can you take your film to for the next level. It's also what's your next film. So you go to these film festivals with your back pocket full of your next projects. You're looking for collaborators. You're looking for possible funders. It's not that easy to get funders from the festivals to come to a country like Malaysia, because we have this big kind of clash in terms of what we want to make and then what our to speaking two different languages. But yeah, don't go there like blur and then like, oh wow, I'm here. And there's, oh, I'm in Italy, I'm in Japan. Enjoy that part of it. And I'd say this to any filmmakers: try and watch as many movies as you can. I would say, as a producer, I'd never get to watch enough movies at the festivals because we're so busy like hustling, trying to get this and that and arrange this and that meeting, and trying to get your director or whoever, if you have actors and stuff, trying to get them to have some kind of profile while they're there. And then, I think if you can, try and watch movies, because that's really a special joy of being at a film festival. I remember, I think it's another time I was at Cannes, I got to see only one movie, but it was Wim Wenders' Paris, Texas, and it was the 20th anniversary of Paris, Texas in Cannes, and Wim Wenders was there in the audience. I was like, if there was one film I could watch, and with the maestro present, like but yeah, usually I don't really focus on that, watching the film side. It's all about talking to people and then really telling people about our next films, so that the next film we're already looking for sales agents and stuff. And the whole festival programmers, there's a network around that. So you're trying to reestablish, it's not like we are having one film out every year. So when we do go, then it's very important to try and reconnect back. And the personal connection is what's important. So now that everything's gone online, that's what we're really, I think, missing out on. Because when you're there physically, you never know who you're going to bump into. You might see somebody that you haven't seen in 6 years, and it's like, oh, come, let's go have a coffee. Along the way, they bump into somebody who's got a film at the festival, and then their producer knows somebody else, and then before you know it, you're all like planning to work together on something further down the line. Yeah, I would say that in other places where you go, where you launch your film at that festival, carries some weight at home, like at least in Europe and the West. But that's what I was saying, that here it almost works to our
disservice.
Because even our press and our reviewers don't know the difference. So you could go to what were you, Vignesh? You were talking about the Singapore World Carnival thing, or you could be opening film at Singapore International Film Festival and they won't know the difference. That's it's quite depressing actually to come home after that feeling. So hopefully that will change, and hopefully with more and more festivals cropping up in Malaysia, then the audience, at least a niche audience, might be created. I don't know yet.
I guess that is a long process for our media to learn about these. I think we have been hearing quite a number of complaints, like getting into Singapore World Carnival as the big festival kind of things. So I think education is needed among our media journalists, for example. Okay, how about you, Moose? Even though you work mainly as director, I believe in a way you are meeting producers, and your friends are producers as well. Like when you are working with producers, that bring your friend out. So how did that actually? Do you think film festival is a place as to market your film, or what do you do with it?
Yeah, Chong, I think it's interesting question. People always says, kau punya film only for film festival, or buat film untuk film festival lah ni, or something like you show your film at the film festival first, then get recognized, and you showing here, then people will look up on you. I think because of this stigma, that's the reason some of the filmmaker quite become like desperate, want to show their film at the certain filmmakers. I think for me, film festival, I think I have three idea of why my film should be showing. Not must. Why is important film festival to me? The first one is because as a filmmaker, I always want to show my story to other filmmaker and to the cinephilia. Because when the first time I encounter about film festival, I come as cinephilia, and I watch the movie, some of the directors that I never know their names. Somehow I feel excited. I feel curious about the filmmaker. I feel curious about the country. I think I want to be something like that. I want to be people curious about my country. I want people to be curious about what filmmaker in Malaysia facing or experience. That's the first one. Then the second one, I think the reason is quite funny, because the second one it's not only me, but also some of our filmmaker friends. The reason why they are keep making film every year is because they want to attend the film festival, and they want to have the party or networking, because it's like film festival is like party, like reunion. You will meet your old friends and become friends with new friends. I think that's why the film festival is quite important for me. And the third one is because when we are showing our film to a certain film festival, so that's when our film is there. There are review about the films. There are feedback about the films. So it's not about we getting the recognition. It's about what can we do next? How we want to challenge our past, because film festival people who attend in film festival, I can say quite critical about the film. They choose the film. When we show our film, we already knew, or maybe the audience doesn't like, or maybe something like that. And our fellow filmmakers maybe will critique our film, or maybe they will try to help us for the next project. Because I think why I love film festival, because maybe at the first because we are really cinephilia, because there's like one big part of all the cinephilia, all the filmmaker, all film critics can enjoy life together, our cinema life together. I think that's the reason why we want go to the film festival, not because we want to get the best films, best director. I think that one is the second one. We want to celebrate cinema. We want to celebrate life.
That is really a sacred reason, because I believe a lot of people will equal film festival to marketing. but this most of the time don't apply to short films. So Audrey, who made short films, I don't think that is a reason for you to get into the festival. So
So for me, right, actually, I wanted to add to what Mu say, because like for me, short film and getting it into festival, there's an importance there, because let's say if I want to apply for labs or workshops in Hub, right? Sometimes the criteria is you need to have films that are selected in certain festivals, and it sometimes it's not a rule that is written in the application, but we all know a matter of fact that, you know, if you have a film in a film or short film in a recognized festival or an important festival, it will kind of, I would say, increase the perimeter, you know, the perimeter of it, and then you're maybe, you know, it will help and benefit in some ways lah. And also, if you're thinking further down the line in terms of if you want to try and apply for those international fundings, yeah, having a film in an international festival will also help, definitely. Yeah.
That is really a good point, because, for example, I think we saw those forms whenever you want to submit to apply for lab, for example, they will ask you if you had entered any film festival before.
Correct.
They really wanted to know if you had get into this Alice Film Festival.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out. How about you, Vignesh? Do you have anything to add on from here? Yeah, could you please turn on your mic?
Sorry, every time I forgot. Very sorry. Actually,
Don't
I
worry.
already mentioned previously. I already mentioned. So it's apart from learning. Okay, what is our next? So we always look after for the funds. We always look after for the monetizations. So if we successfully enter for the prestigious and the right film festivals, of course, the film festivals or the film lab will obviously ask for the previous film festivals award-winning details. Okay, this is to ensure that we already in the one of the presentee or the nominee for the fund. Let's say if we don't have any experience or any film festivals related experience, so maybe the festival the film lab related professionals may ignore our what we call our proposals. So it's entering film festivals, it's good for, it's one of the good point for monetization. So what we call for the film funding for future.
Okay. So I think that also answered the question, film festival and then what? So you try to imply that by getting into film festival, that somehow will bring in potential investment or potential to make the next film, like probably collaborators or people who can work with you for the next project. Okay, so I think we are kind of like come near to the end of the sessions. We can kind of like wrap the session already. So let's wrap it up and to say some final words to the audience who are watching. Probably you want to promote your next film, to share about your next film, or anything. Yes. Anyone? I think Muzami is the nearest. Yes.
Okay. So tomorrow we will announce when our film Pebek Sapu will be screened in the cinema. So we will have like nationwide release. Not really much hall, but quite. I think we will fight for every state. We will have one hall for our films. So tomorrow, tomorrow we will announce the date. Yeah, Sabah, Sarawak. I think every state deserve, because you know there are a lot good Malaysian films, but somehow our local audience cannot access with the films. Only play at the festival. So for me, it's important for us to screen our film at the festival, but our audience is more important, because this is our story and we want our audience to watch it.
Yeah, you mentioned about fighting to get into the cinema. So I believe it's a very tough process. How did you do it? How did you do it with your producer?
I don't know. I think at the first I think making film is quite hard to finding the money. Then when we make a film, I think to finish the film is quite hard. When the film is finished, I think to distribute and to screen at our own local cinema, I think more harder. I think Nadita have more experience in this. So now I still learning about how this thing works. So, but I think I get many support from our friends, our families, all the I have a very good support from our local cinephilia, local filmmakers with our friends. I think it's okay for me to thank you for all my friends and all the people in this industry who always support us.
Oh, it's lovely. I love. I hope I can bring students with me to go and watch your films in the cinema in Sarawak later. Okay, yeah. Since you mentioned Nandita, so yeah, Nandita, would you like to share with us about this experience of getting into cinemas and or anything that you would like to share with us to wrap the session?
I think that you after your film has gone around and been seen all over the world, it's really exciting to come back home. And like Muzamil said, I think we all make our films. Actually, they're about here, and we want people here to watch it. We want to bring them home. But there's a lot of obstacles to that. Like I said, because nobody really cares about the festival side, and then we're not getting the right kind of support, including from our press, and then also from the cinemas. Sometimes they would rather have more screens for like a B-grade horror from Indonesia than an independent Malaysian film. And they kind of try to pigeonhole us and say, oh, you just go to these 5 cinemas and you just sit there. But actually what we need their support to connect with our local audience, because the local audience is not used to the kind of stories that we're making. Their first choice is always going to be Hollywood. And then it's the local mass market commercial films, and then there's us. So we're still like in this process of trying to create an audience for this kind of cinema. I can't imagine what it must be like for a Tamil language film, because yes, every year I look at the top 10 box office films in Malaysia. Every year there's at least 3 Tamil movies in that top 10 box office. And if you say the Indian population is less than 2 million, who the hell is watching this for it to get into the box office? But for a locally made Tamil movie to get into the cinema, I think the challenges you face must be really quite incredible.
Yes, Vinesh, I believe your film had went into our local cinemas already.
Actually, we already released the movie back 29 April. Okay, 29 April. Before the third COVID wave. Okay, the government announces the total lockdown on 12th May. Okay, it's almost just 13 days of releasing the film in nationwide. So from the 50% capacity, we just what we call gather the audience. Around 13,000 people only watch our films. To be very honest, okay, I cannot say the profit that we made in theaters, but we actually made the profit out of our country, like selling Hindi dubbing rights, Kannada dubbing rights, Malayalam dubbing rights, and OTT from there. Okay, to be very honest, we got Malaysian Tamil population for 2 million, and the Malaysia population is almost 33 million. But the amount of support they are given to Indian films from compared to Malaysian Tamil films is very less. So I would like to say it's not about the issue, the interest issue lah. The interest issue of the Tamil films between the normal audience and the media. Sometimes the normal audience and the media need to aware that we are in the cinema for 50 years, I believe lah. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, but we cannot compare the giant and legends back in India. They are more than 150 years. Their cinema is very long, and Hollywood is very big. Hollywood, Nollywood is very big giant there. Okay, we cannot compare our Malaysian film industry back to them. So we are still growing process. So I request to all media and general audience, and also including our filmmakers back in Malaysia, to support each our filmmakers. Let's say if I support for Muzama and Audrey Yo, and also producer Nandita, obviously they will be a great united, and all our films can speakable. That's the main thing. Secondly, I just want to deliver that. What's the next? Okay. The great filmmaker and also legendary Christopher Nolan said, filmmaking is universal. If I fail in my first film, I'm ready to go to the continuous learning. So for Paramapadam, we have great get a great experience. But in return profit in Malaysia, I cannot explain verbally or directly. But to be very honest, outside from Malaysia, yes, of course, we made it. Yeah.
So what Vignesh is looking for is the hope that more support locally, either from the audience and the film community themselves.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Thank you, Vignesh, for this also. Okay, Audrey, let's wrap up and hear from you.
Okay, I kind of lost the train of thought from everyone answering the question, but I think I kind of remembered. Like, I think what I wanted to say is, like for us we need to create more possibility of like showcasing our local films, especially some of the films that we all here are trying to make, because through that we need to from only through this we can educate the audience to watch more sophisticated materials, and then we can get to make better films. So that's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Audrey. Thank you, Nan. Yeah, Mus.
Beside the Kota Kinabalu International Film Festival, so don't forget to watch Mabar Invasion by Tai Chumoy. I think one of a good movie in Malaysia. We will be screening I think next week in
22nd. Yes, 22nd October. So there's another movie. And the film that she produced, sometimes is now screening in KKIFF at the moment. So if you want to watch the film that Chui Mui produced, directed by Jackie, buy the tickets. You can watch the film in KKIFF now. Okay, thanks a lot to our panelists. We have Nandita, Vignesh, Muzamil, and Audrey. Basically, we had talked about their experience joining the film festival and how to make the best out of the experience joining this film festival. Apart from having their film being screened in the cinema, in the film festival, they also make sure that they build a network that somehow, in the end of the day, bring benefits of their film career and film journeys. So thanks a lot for tuning in to listen to us. And we wish to see you again in another edition of the festival. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Kotohuadan.
Bye.
Have a good night. Thank you.